sipping bubbly by the deep blue.
Hi guys, thank you and welcome back to my channel. So this week I'm gonna go in and create this makeup look right here. It's a little bit more like natural everyday makeup look with a wing liner. But this week we're gonna go in and use all the products that I never used on this channel before that just recently launched, like the Fenty Beauty new blurring Eaze drop. Also, we're gonna try out a few new different interesting products, especially the one that I'm currently really obsessed with. The liquid matte lipstick from Dahlia. If you haven't heard that brand yet, stay tuned. You're gonna see how much I love the liquid lipsticks. So yeah, so this we're gonna be more like a quick chill using a lot of new makeup products you haven't seen on this channel before. So if you're interested, you know what to do, like, subscribe, all that jazz. So go ahead and start on this makeup look and create this look. Today's actually really freezing here in LA, so my voice might go in and out because it's been like 80 something degree, 85 degree in LA, and today certainly it's become like 62, so I'm trying to drink hot tea so my voice don't like go in and out. Okay, so just like regular, I'm gonna go in with my moisturizer, the Ambient. So I use this practically every single makeup tutorial because my skin is a little bit more dry to medium, so I wanted to keep my skin as hydrated as possible. And then next up, I haven't used this one forever, is the Ole Henderson Banana Bright Face Primer. So I'm gonna put that in first. I haven't used this one for so long and I forgot how much I love it. And I just recently got like a little peel and micro needling, so my skin is a little bit more sensitive. And I have a little bit more red spot right in here because I did laser hair removal on my top lip. So it's like zapping my hair right there. So I'm like a little bit red over here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little lip balm. This is the Eaze lip balm right in here to keep my lip a little bit more hydrated. So it's gonna take in the lip liner and the lipstick a little bit more better later. So now we're just gonna go straight into foundation, or is it more like a tinted foundations, skin tint? So this is the newest from Rihanna Fenty Beauty. Ooh, it's upside down. The Fenty Beauty newest launch. So I actually used this like twice before and I kind of liked it, and my number is number 9 right in here. So it's kind of like based on whatever foundations you use in Fenty before. So I use all the Fenty foundations. So this is like the matte foundation. This is the first one they came out with, and then they came out with this one, and I actually love this one because it's a little bit more hydrated, and my color is number 240 in both of them. So based on the color chart, if you look online, they show like which number color chart your foundation color is kind of like fall into. So mine is 240, 250, and 260, somewhere around there. This fall into number 9, so I'm gonna use that one. So this is the packaging. So this one, first thought of it, is actually super small. So it's much smaller than I thought it would be. I thought it would be more like, I don't know, for some reason I thought it would be like bigger. But this is like super cute, super small. So it's practically kind of like fit into your like makeup bag. Like if you travel, it can just fit right in there. So when you put it out like these, so this first look of it is it's matched my skin pretty decent. I just said this have a little bit more like a pinkish tint compared to my skin tone. I have a little bit more like yellow, really yellow undertone to like olive skin tone, and this one, number 9, have a little bit more like pinker red tone to it, a little bit more neutral. And I look at the chart in number 10, if you jump up one color, even though other color range is a little bit more higher, number 10 have a little bit more like yellow undertone. So I did went into Sephora sale this week actually to order a different color, up one number 10. So hopefully that's gonna come in like the next few days. I'm gonna try that one to see if it's gonna match with my skin a little bit more better. But so far this is not gonna be bad. It's close enough. It just, for me, it's have a little bit more like pinker tone. And with my skin tone, because I have more yellow undertone with this pink tint on it. It's kind of act as like a color corrector, so sometimes it get a little bit more brighter than it's supposed to be. You know, sometimes when you put your under eye a little bit more pinker to brighten up your eye for like darker area, it's gonna happen the same effect if you're using it a little bit more like red tone foundation on a yellow undertone, or a little bit more yellow undertone to a red skin tone, pinkish skin tone. It can kind of like do a little bit more color correcting. So first I'm just gonna go in and use a Sephora number 55. So I just want to go in with a little bit more sheer layer with this one, since it's gonna be a little bit more like a natural makeup. So I'm using number 55 because the bristle of this brush is a little bit more longer. So if you want something a little bit more natural, a little bit more sheer foundation, use a bristle brush that is a little bit more loose, a little bit more longer, rather than something that is like super dense like this brush right here. So this one is from the Hourglass foundation brush. This brush right in here is a little bit more denser, so that's gonna give you a little bit more like a fuller coverage. And using this brush right in here is a little bit more less coverage because doesn't take up as much foundation. I'm just gonna sheer out your foundation a little bit more to give you that more like a natural finish look. And again, since I'm really into like natural makeup these days, because honestly we don't really go anywhere and I'm barely using any foundation, any like I don't even go out and use makeup anymore. I think like I don't care anymore, and we have to wear masks, so there's no point of wearing makeup. Plus my nose is still kind of like healing. It is a little bit more better now, like the tip I can still feel a little bit more I wouldn't say it's like fully healed, like all the tendons or the nerve is starting to connect back to each other. So I'm kind of start feeling my nose tip a little bit more. So now I can like don't have to be so gentle with my nose. I feel like it's a little bit more sturdy now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit more of the skin tint, because this is meant to be a little bit more like light to medium coverage. And after that, I'm just gonna go in with a quick press with the Beauty Blender right in here. So I like to go in with the Beauty Blender after each applications, just to make sure I press all the products into my pores, especially the foundations. Make it a little bit more seamless, also a little bit more even. So I'm not sure if you can see on the camera because the light here is a little bit more brighter for camera, but with this one it's more like a light to medium coverage, and I actually kind of love it. It does have slight more like a blurry future texture to it. So the feel of this one I would say a little bit more like cashmere velvet finish. It's not dry, so I love that because my skin is a little bit more like dry to normal skin tone. So I always going for something a little bit more hydrating rather than something a little bit more matte. And this one is kind of like something in between, more towards the hydration. And I actually kind of love that one. So far with the first impression, I kind of love using this Fenty Beauty. I just want to try with the slight one color up, the number 10, to see if it's matched my skin tone a little bit more better. This do match, but I just wanted to have a little bit more like yellow undertone to it. So maybe that match a little bit more better. But so far I kind of like love and obsessed with this new Fenty Beauty Eaze drop thing. So yeah, so just make sure you have to like shake it up before. So now we're just gonna go on with a concealer, and this one is kind of like the cult favorite, but I just haven't used for a long time. So this is the Nars concealer, and the color I use is Freck Honey. So this is more towards color correcting. So I have a little bit more like darker spot right in here. So I'm just gonna put a few dots right there, a little bit right here actually. And I tend to have a little bit more darker spot right around my lips area. So I love this one. And then I'm just gonna go in with, I'm not sure if I used this one on my channel before, but this is the new Marc Jacob Extra Shot concealer. It's marketing as concealer and foundation, and I tried both, and you can actually use both. I got two different color of the Marc Jacob Eaze shot right in here. So this one is my concealer color. I'm using number 180, and this is gonna match with my kind of like foundation color. I'm medium to 30, so it's have a little bit more yellow undertone to it. So now I'm just gonna go in with the more lighter color. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just a little bit right in there. I'm trying to keep my complexion as natural as possible, so I don't want to put in like a lot. I'm just gonna go in with one dot of like the skin color, just so it's blending a little bit more better. Now I'm just gonna go in with brush first. So this is the Morphe M536 brush. So this is more like concealer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of like blend everything together right in here. And I'm gonna go more towards like the inner corner of my eye because I have a little bit more darker area right in there. And then slowly go on more like a lighter area. And again, creating that like natural lighting right in here. So with that three color combined, it's kind of like help cancel out my blue undertone right in there. Also help my under eye to brighten up a little bit more. And because the concealer tends to be a little bit more too bright for my under eye, so I just put in a little bit of my skin tone color just to balance everything out. Because for natural makeup look, I don't want my under eye to be like too bright. Maybe just one tone lighter than my natural foundations rather than like two. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and blend everything else together. And again, after I finish with the brush, I'm just gonna go ahead and lightly and press everything down with my beauty blender to make sure everything blends together and a little bit more evenly. And now I call this my sandwich trick. So I showed this on like a couple of videos before like a while. If you want to have a little bit more like fuller coverage, or you can always go in with that brush with whatever the leftover from like the tinted moisturizer, or not tinted moisturizer, tinted this one, the tinted foundations. And if you want to have a little bit more like fuller coverage or a little bit more coverage somewhere, you can always go back right on top after you finish your concealer. It's kind of like creating a sandwich of like foundations, concealer, and then foundation on top, so everything kind of like merge each other a little bit more better rather than you just doing a foundation, concealer, and kind of like sometimes it's kind of like separate, and like around here you get a little bit more like just disconnect between the concealer and then the foundation color. Does that make sense? So if you go in with the foundation color again lightly on the area, it's kind of like merge everything slightly more better. And now we're just gonna go in with a little bit light contouring. This is optional if you want to do this part or not. So now I'm just gonna go in with, this is actually WESTMAN Atelier. I'm not sure if you can see the logo right in there. So this was WESTMAN Atelier. I've been wanting to try this brand forever. They just start selling them at Sephora. So I got they have like foundations, and I got this color in, so this is the Face Trace Contouring Stick. And I love this one because it's like pop out like this. It's so pretty. So this is kind of like a perfect shade for like a contouring. Have a little bit more like greater tone to it. And kind of like twist up like this. It's super cute. And one part that I love is this one go in here, and it's kind of like, it's magnetic. And I love that. So I keep like playing with it. And then they also have like blushes. Blushes coming like the same kind of like packaging, but just like a different color outside. So this is the color that I got for blush, and I totally loving all like this packaging. It's super sleek, and the color blush that I got is in Petal. Normally don't like to draw a line into my face for contouring, so I'm just gonna go in with this Sephora, I think this is the Flawless Airbrush. It's supposed to be foundation brush number 56. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go like this to the contouring and tap whatever left right on the back of my hand, because I don't want to be like too much. Because if you go in with the whole thing and just draw stripe into your face, you can, but I just feel like that sometimes get a little bit too much. So with this way, just put on the brush and applying it, you get a little bit more like control out of it. Plus it's look a little bit more sheer, it's a little bit more natural and not so contour and sculpted, which is we're not trying to do while we're doing something a little bit more like natural makeup look. Can also go a little bit right on my jawline. And with this one, it could get a little bit too gray if you put on a little bit too much, because it's meant for like contouring, and contouring is like gray tone, so you don't use it as like a bronzer or anything, because it's definitely going to turn you a little bit more grayer and a little bit more ashier if you happen to like use a little bit too much. With this, a little bit go a long way with it, because you just want to create that like shadow shade and not using it as like a bronzer shade, because it's not a bronzer. You can also help blending in with using the foundation brush again. And sometimes I like to use this shade while I'm in like my contouring shade. I like to put it right on top of my eyelid. It's kind of create that like sunken natural shadow look for later. So this shade, I just feel like it's like perfect shade if you use it right on your eyelid. It's gonna give you like that natural skin look effect that is not so overdone. And then you can actually use that for nose contouring also. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to really carefully put on the side of my nose for nose contouring. And since I kind of like got a new nose practically, so I'm still playing around with how I like to contouring my nose. So usually I go all the way down with my nose, but now that it's a little bit more refined and lifted, I don't have to do that anymore. So now I'm just gonna go practically just going a little bit more like halfway up here. And since it's not fully healed yet, some part of my nose is still kind of like swollen. So I'm still trying to balance my nose out. And since all the nerve is not like fully connected in there yet, so now that when I use my brush into my nose, it feel like tingly. It's have that weird feeling that when you like, if your arm is like going really numb and you can like feel your arm, but then you kind of like touch it, your arm feel kind of like tingly. So that's kind of like how I feel with my nose right now. Like, you know that it's there, but it's like you can barely feel it. Then again, I'm just gonna go in with the beauty blender and press everything down. You can totally skip this contouring step if you're like in a hurry and you don't need to do cream contouring, all that. You can totally like skip it. I normally don't, but today I just put it on because we want to try a few new products. And next up, we're gonna go in with a little bit more cream blush. I'm really into cream blush these days, and WESTMAN Atelier have the other cream blush right in here. So this color again is called Petal. So I'm going to use this right on top of my cheek. I tend to go a little bit more lower usually, but now I'm just going to go in a little bit more higher up here. So with this one, I can just dab that right in here a little bit. And then you can go in with like the beauty blender and go very gently, just press all that together. And then I'm just going to press just a little bit of it. And then I'm just going to press right on between my nose to give you that kind of like sunburn effect. And if you happen to feel like you put on too much blush, just go back whenever with your foundation brush and just lightly does that right on top. This is gonna also help blend everything together a little bit more better. And again, since this is more like a natural, everyday, quick makeup, I'm saying quick right now because I'm like have to talk, so this might take a while for me. But if you do this like you get used to it, and this should be really quick for you to do at like at home. This usually take me about 15-20 minutes, because if you only have like 5 or 10 minutes, might as well not do any makeup. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and go and just set my foundation right here. So I'm gonna use my favorite Orce Cosmetics setting powder right in here, to Come Closer setting powder. So again, if you don't know, I have a partnership with Orce Cosmetics, a brand partnership with Orce Cosmetics, and I did a brand review my last video, and actually a year ago I did first impression when I first found out about Orce Cosmetics, and do have a code with them now for brand partnership. So if you want to purchase any of the Orce Cosmetics from like their foundations or their powder that they currently carrying on their line right in there right now, is actually my favorite foundation ever. I'm going to link the link for that review right down below if you want to watch that one. But I'm going to go in with the powder, and again, if you want to purchase any of the products from Orce Cosmetics, use Bella20 code at the end of the checkout, and you're gonna get 20% off on your purchase. And again, it's a brand partnership, so I do make a little bit commission after you make the purchase. And I also love the packaging because it have a little bit more dome right up here for you to like swirl your brushes. So I'm just gonna go in just a little bit to set my under eye. So with this setting powder, is super light, also really hydrating. I love this one because majority of setting powder like the Laura Mercier, sometimes I feel like it's a little bit too dry. If you're using a little bit too much over time, it does dry out your under eye skin a little bit. This one have hyaluronic acid and Tahitian pearls to keep your skin a little bit more hydrated. Also give you that like natural glow without all the glitter or the reflective plastic whatever in there. So I'm just setting like my T-zone right up here, my nose, a little bit more on my under eye, and trying to keep my surrounding a little bit more not set, to keep it a little bit more dewier. But if you have a little bit more like oily skin, you can also set your whole face. So now I'm just gonna go in to warm up my face a little bit more. So I haven't found any of the like new bronzer that coming out. Like right now it's practically tinted moisturizer, foundation that is coming out mostly. So they don't have like new bronzer coming out. So I'm gonna go in and use the Charlotte Tilbury, my favorite airbrush bronzer. I'm using number 2 as my bronzer, just to add a little bit more warmth. So I'm gonna go ahead and put wherever I put that like contouring shade really lightly. So this is gonna help kind of like set it a little bit, but also give you a little bit more warmth back into your face, a little bit more dimension, a little bit more color. And again, don't remember not to use a little bit too much, but because you're trying to kind of like warm up your face and not so contouring, so sculpted. So I like to spray and keep my skin a little bit more hydrated midway through my foundations to keep my face slightly like powder free or a little bit more less powdery, or just to help set everything a little bit more better and hydrated. So I'm gonna go in with the Glow recipe. So recently using this one, I love how the smell of it. I've been using a lot of like Glow recipe skincare products lately, and I kind of like love it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lightly set my face. So this is not actually set, but it's more like in the hydration. So now that my complexion is all set right there, now we're just gonna go in and do a really quick eye. So I'm gonna go in with like the Nars. I have a little bit like the Nars sampling bronzer right in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that using the Makeup by Mario brush EF number 2. So this is one of my new favorite brushes. So I'm just gonna dab a little bit of the Nars bronzer right in there. I'm using this one because I think everybody kind of like have it at home. It's practically a cult favorite. So I'm not gonna go into detail with my eye. I'm just gonna go ahead and warm up my eye socket, mostly right in here, right on top of my socket. So this should be like really quick. So I'm trying not to coloring my whole eye. I'm trying to keep this part right in here still like kind of like clean and white. I'm not sure if you can see it. So majority just gonna go right on the edge and right into my socket line, and just really nestle that right into my socket. It's a little bit more easier if you like kind of like look down. You kind of have a feeling of where your socket is. So this is not like your eye crease, because I don't have like that much of a crease. I'm majority painted or brush on my eyeshadow right into my eye socket line. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on my other eye. I'm doing it this way instead of just coloring in my whole eyelid, because I just feel like it's gonna give your eye a little bit more dimensional rather than just one flat shadow color right into your eyelid. So majority I like to paint my eyelid just right into my socket line. You can always go in and use your fingers to kind of like blend everything out, because again, this is more like a natural makeup look, so it doesn't have to be like perfect sharp line and everything. Majority I'm nestling right on the center, because that's usually where I have like less defined socket. So majority I'm have majority of the color right in there on the center rather than on the edges. Then you can always go in with like a clean brush and just go like, woo, just buff it out onto the edges. So I'm going to show you how I usually do my wing liner. Sometimes I use the eyeliner pen, but majority I'm going to go in with the powder first. But this time I'm going to go in with powder, and then we're going to go in with like a gel liner right afterward. I'm going to tell you why. So I'm going to go in with a Scott Barn brush, angle brush right in here, number 60. I'm going to use any of the black colors. I'm using this is the Makeup by Mario palette. I have the review of this one, the Master Matte palette. So I did review the whole collections before. So I'm going to go ahead and link that link right down below also. But you can also use any of the black color. It's fine. Or like a darker brown color. So first I'm just going to go in with like the angle brush. I just find like it's a little bit more easier for you to go in with like an angle brush first. Kind of like lay out where you want your wing liner to be rather than just go straight on with the eyeliner. It's a little bit more harder, it's a little bit more like trickier to do it, so I'd rather doing like this way, so it's less stressful. I'm just gonna head and stamp right onto the, kind of like doing a tight line right onto my lash line. So you practically go all the way from like the inner corner right in here and slowly just go. Take your time and kind of like stamp it out all the way to the end. Then load it your brush, and then on the end right in here just look straight and kind of imagine there's a line right in here on your nostril to your brows. And just go kind of like follow your underneath your waterline for underneath, how that angle right in there. Kind of go up, so you're just gonna go up with like the same direction that way. So just go up like that. You can go longer, shorter, whatever. So I'm gonna go in a little bit more longer so you can like see a little bit more easier. And then it's easier for you to do a little bit more your eyes open first, and then kind of like draw into that tail, and then color everything in. So after you can kind of like get the shape right in there, now you can like close one eye and kind of like color everything in and kind of like merge this line together. And that way you kind of have like a perfect wing liner. And you happen to like mess up with your wing liner, you can always go in with like a Q-tip right in there and just go swipe up right in there. It should give you a little bit more cleaner line. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and do that same wing to my other eye. Okay, so now that both of my wing is right in there, we're gonna go in with two more steps with the wing liner, but first I'm gonna go in really quick to put on my brows, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, now that my brows is in there, and this step, the next step is also optional because of my under eye sometimes it's creased a little bit more if I don't really like bake it. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and go in there to bake it just really quick. So I'm gonna go in with the new one size from Patrick Starrr translucent powder right in here. So I'm going to use this one to bake, and I love the packaging. It's super like soft and cute. And when you open this powder, I used this one before. It does have a little bit more like a flap right in here for you to open. Just check out the powder. The one thing about this powder that I don't like is actually that part, because I like to have a lot of powder right on top, to feel on top for me to like grab and to use to bake. And with that compartment right in there is help from like if you travel and the powder not like going everywhere. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this part out and kind of like pop it out so I have a little bit more powder for me to use to bake. So to bake, I'm just gonna go in with the beauty blender right in there. I'm just gonna go ahead and press lightly a little bit really tight to my under eye, to that line right in there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bake just really quick, just a few minutes, not for long. And this step is totally optional also. So there, just my under eye. I did also getting the one size sponge right in here with the edge right in there. So if you like to bake like right on the side right in here, you can just like press it right in there. I love how there's like a line so you can use it. So I used this sponge like a few times before, and I love using that edge for just like right there. If you want to like really bake, normally if I do mine like no more every day, I don't really bake. But today I'm just gonna go ahead because I want to try this powder. And while I'm waiting for that bake, we're actually gonna go in and use another products for the wing liner. I always go in with my eye makeup like twice because kind of like help define it a little bit more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to that Makeup by Mario brush EF2 with the Nars bronzer right in there. So with the second time, I'm just gonna go ahead and again really define that socket. You don't have to do this second step because I just always feel like if you go in with your eyeshadow twice, it's kind of help it not move and last a little bit more longer throughout the day. And also the first layer sometimes is kind of like sunk into your pores and kind of like slowly disappear. And if you go in with your eye makeup like kind of like a second layer, to kind of like help set and really like enforce that layer, and it's gonna give you that little bit more like a pop. So I always do my eye makeup like twice. Like the first one is kind of like the layout part of it, and then the second part I'm gonna go in and define and kind of like clean up everything. And to define that wing liner, I'm gonna go again with the Scott Bond brush number 60 right in here. Is my new favorite angle brush. Today we're gonna go in with the Bobbi brown gel liner right in here. So this is a long wear eyeliner gel. It's in black ink. It's in black. And I tend to use the ink pot more than the wing liner. The liner pen, I feel like it's a little bit more better for me to use the brush rather than the wing liner for some reason. I have a little bit more control with the brush. And now that you already have kind of like the basic layout with the powder, you kind of like know where the wing is. Now with the gel, you're just gonna go in and kind of like set it or double reinforce it, so it's gonna last longer throughout the day. Also gonna give you a little bit more sharper line once you do more like gel liner right on top of it. And once side is done, now I'm just gonna go ahead and do my other eye. And now that my wing liner is in there, I love to using the gel right after because I feel like it's gonna go in and give you a little bit more like perfect sharper line. If you happen to like mess up the first time, when you go in with the gel liner, it's gonna kind of like help cleaning it up and give you like a second chance to like playing around with it, because gel liner tend to dry down. It takes a little bit more while to dry down, so it gives you a little bit play time to kind of like sculpt it around a little bit. If you have to like mess up, just use like a Q-tip to go like one swoop and should be give you that like really clean line right on the edge. So last video, if you haven't watched it, I was like wondering which mascara curler, new mascara curler I should use, and I've been wanting to use a Surratt, and I finally got my hand into like the Surratt curler right in here. I love the feel of this like curler. It's like a little bit more like matte, and a lot of people kind of like love the Surratt curler. Me, it's kind of like I'm still getting used to it. Like it's not like the one of the best one that I use, but it does help curl up my lash a little bit more evenly rather than the other one, because sometimes my eye shape is a little bit more longer and it doesn't really fit into the whole curler. So sometimes my lash does get a little bit more like wonky at the end because it doesn't go in all the way. But this one is pretty decent. And now for the mascara that I actually try and I kind of love, so this is also the Fenty Beauty mascara right in here. So normally I'm kind of like really picky about mascara. I normally go for like the Dior Show or the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. So this is my go-to mascara right in here. But I just recently tried the Fenty Beauty full frontal mascara and I kind of liked it. It was like shocked. So the one of this one is really weird and interesting. It's a little bit more flat on this side, and on the two sides a little bit more bristle. And looking at the brush alone is going to give you a little bit more like length and separation. And I did also try this before, and I love how it doesn't really like bleed or doesn't give you like that raccoon eye. And I love how it's gives you a little bit more like separation and lengthening. And I'm probably going to go in with another coat once this coat is dry. But now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of finishing up my complexions. And with my baking powder still right in there, I'm just going to go ahead and go in a little bit more with my bronzer. So even though my bake is still kind of in there, I like to put on blush while my bake is in there. It's kind of like help blending in a little bit more better. So this one is the Bobbi Brown blush called Tawny. I'm going to go in and use the Sephora brush number 93, the featherweight blending brush. I'm just going to go ahead and dip a little bit of that right in there and go in like circular motion and kind of go up like. And I like to do the blush while I have the bake on, because you kind of like see where the blush is going comparing to like the baking powder right in there. And with the baking, when you wipe out the bake, it's kind of like help blend and merge everything together a little bit more better, rather than you're just going to go ahead and trying to blend the blush with your complexions. And now I'm really going to go ahead and wipe all the baking powder out, but I'm going to show you the way how I does it. So I'm going to go in with, it's called like a finishing powder. There's a difference between like foundation powder, setting powder, baking powder, and then a finishing powder. Finishing powder tends to be a little bit more like mineral based, a little bit more finer. So it doesn't give you like that cakey like foundations powder does. The normal powder I normally like is from the actually the Sephora collection one. This one right in here, the color I'm in is number 30 in medium. So I'm going to use this as my finishing powder. So I'm just going to go ahead and use like a brush right in here. This is the e.l.f. blush brush. I love this blush. This brush, I'm just going to swirl up a little bit. And I'm not just going to go ahead and swipe like this. I'm actually going to go and kind of like going around in circular motion, kind of like buff everything into my skin in circular motion, because imagine your pores like this, and if you go in like one direction, you're gonna get shadow in different way that you didn't like kind of like fill in the pot, fill in the hole. And then but if you go in more like circular motions, kind of like filling in all that area, give you a little bit more like an airbrush finish. So that's kind of like one of the trick to go in with the finishing powder. And just go ahead and go in circular motions in your whole makeup. And you're probably afraid that, oh, that's going to be like a lot of powder. It's not, because finishing powder is like super fine. It's mineral based, so it's not going to give you that much like coverage. With this technique, it's going to help you blend everything together. And you can also go in with like the Sephora more like round like dome brush right in here. So doing it that way, you can see like all the different, everything kind of like merge together, rather than you seeing like contouring shade, blushes and highlight. Do it that way, everything kind of like blend together, and your pores gonna be invisible, and you're gonna look a little bit more airbrush. You probably say, oh, that's a lot of step for like natural makeup. Look, it kind of is, but you always can always like kind of cut down like baking step or finishing powder step. You can also cut down any other step that you like, kind of like cater to what you are doing. Me, I'm just like, if I'm not talking, I could finish everything like this in like 20 minutes. And another finishing powder brand that I actually kind of love is from Hourglass right in here. Hourglass have really good finishing powder, and the one I'm using is one of my favorite. It's actually Dim Light. Dim Light is going to give you more like a candle glow finishing, like you sitting next to like a candlelight finish. It's more like a velvet. Imagine your skin look a little bit more like that velvet satin finish. I would go in with a little bit of highlight, so I'm gonna go in with the classic cult favorite, the Becca highlighter. This is the Champagne Pop from Jaclyn Hill. This has slightly a little bit more gold tone to it. Another one that I like from Becca Cosmetics is the color Opal. It's also one of my favorite. And since I have a little bit more like yellow undertone, I feel like ColourPop also have a little bit more golden base tone, so it kind of like merge into my skin a little bit more better, and it doesn't give me that like really high shine like white cast of like other highlighter. So I tend to like my highlighter to be in more like a warmer family, rather than something is so blinding and more like bright and white. So I put highlight on the top of my cheekbone, a little bit on top of my brows. I'm gonna go in with something a little bit more like flat brush like this right in here. So this is like the old Cover FX contouring brush, but I just like this flat surface right in here for nose contouring, nose highlight. So I use that to be kind of like a little bit right there, a little bit on the bridge of my nose. Also, it's like a perfect shape for me to go right under my brows, just on the highest point. And just to blend everything together, just go in with like a clean angle brush. And now that my complexion is done right in there, I'm just going to go ahead and use a little bit of the fluffy brush to put a little bit of a highlighter on my cupid's bow. Now we're just going to go ahead and finishing up this look with like a lip. So you have like 3 different ways you can do like the lip. The first and the quickest way is just going to go in with like a lip balm. And you can practically done with the lip balm, you can actually put on like a lipstick, or if you have a little bit more time, you're gonna go in with like a lip liner, which I'm gonna go in and do. So the lip liner that I'm gonna go in really quick is the Lip Cheat from Charlotte Tilbury. So this one is the Pillow Talk one. So with the Pillow Talk, it's actually one of my favorite lip liner color. And now that my lip is lined, you can always go in like a lipstick color, and I'm gonna show you. Actually, I'm trying to save this lip matte liquid lipsticks for the next few review, because it's like a whole brand by itself that I want to do like the whole brand. But since I love it so much and I've been using it a lot, one of my new favorite brand I wanted to try for like forever is actually from like Dear Dahlia. I'm not sure if you heard about this brand before, but the packaging is super amazing. So this is like a Korean brand cosmetics. And the color, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a review in here really quick. So the color I'm using is in Cosby. I don't think you can see that one. So this one with the formulation is super like soft and velvet. Imagine it's like super, it's supposed to be matte, but it's actually a little bit more like soft and velvet. Like, I don't know how to describe it. You have to like try it to see but actually leaving your lips like really super soft. Like you just have to try it. Like for me, it's the price of this one is a little bit more pricey for like the little size when it's come in. I thought this gonna be a little bit more bigger for like $32–$33, but when I see like the size of it, I was like, oh, that's just a little bit more smaller than I thought. And then I tried the formulation. Trust me, this lipstick, liquid lipsticks, is amazing. You would never want to try any other lipsticks after you try this one. So after you do put that on, you can also dab it with your finger. So that's going to be the color Cosby right in here. Another favorite of my color from that brand, from Dahlia, is the color Teddy. It's also another one of my favorite color. So Teddy is a little bit more like warmer, more pinkish orange tone. So I like to blend these two colors together. So that's going to be the color Teddy. So this is like two of my favorite color. And again, I'm going to go in and do a full review of the whole collections in another video, because I have like their foundations right in here. I also have like their blushes and stuff, and I actually tried the foundation. It's a little bit more redder than I thought, so I'm going to go ahead and order a different color and try that all into like one brand review. But if you want to try it, it's called Dahlia. I'm going to leave the link right down below so you can like check them out. But that's going to be like the best liquid lipsticks or soft velvet mousse lip you ever gonna try. And just your final finish to set everything, I'm gonna go in with the Urban Decay On Either setting spray. Okay, so now that is my makeup done, and it just like, so this is like additional. This actually my first time trying this products. Also, it's gonna be freckles. So this is Freck XL. You can purchase this one on Sephora now. So this is supposed to kind of like mimicking your natural freckles. So for natural makeup look, and you want some things to like show through to look like your freckle. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and try to use this. I'm just gonna go ahead and test on my hand. Trying to use this on my finishing makeup. So this is either gonna be really good or it's gonna turn out really bad, because this is the first time I actually tried this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put wherever I have my freckle before on my nose. So just a little, I'm not sure if you can see it. Then you're just gonna go ahead and use your finger and kind of like do a copy of it around. I'm sure I put a little bit too much over here. Oops. Great, now I have kind of like a big blob right over here. So maybe I need to practice on that one a little bit more. Color wise, it's pretty decent. It just, I kind of accidentally put a little bit too much on this little dot right in here, and it kind of like became like a big stain. So maybe I can fix it with a little bit powder right on top, so it kind of like diffuse it. Okay, so just be careful with that one. Practice it first on your hand. I guess I should have practiced on my hand first, but the color wise of it is kind of like staining my finger right in there. So color wise, it's pretty good. I guess this looks like freckles. I just have to practice on doing it. But okay, just don't look on this side because it's a little bit too big right in there. So I'm gonna go in and fix it in a little bit later with a little bit of concealer or something. So yeah, so I guess this is gonna be my So I guess this is gonna be my finished makeup look right in here. Just don't look on this side with this kind of like messed up freckle right in there. I'm gonna fix it a little bit more later. But so far I love majority of the products that I try. So I was trying to use products I haven't used before if I don't have them. But especially like the Fenty Beauty Eaze Drop. The blurring skin right in here. Let me know if you have tried this one, if you love it or not. But so far this color is pretty decent on me. It does keep my face a little bit more brighter than I like it, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good tinted moisturizer if you're looking something a little bit more like sheer natural everyday. You can also use your hand to applying it, and you know it's small enough for you to just put on right on your purse and travel with it. Also, I love the mascara. I can't believe I haven't tried this one before, so I also love that one also. So majority, I like practically everything in here. I love the freckle too. I just need to practice on it a little bit more. So yeah, so I hope you like this little chill getting ready with me, testing out makeup. Sometimes I like to testing out the makeup before I kind of like recording it, so I can like have a feel of how it works and how long it lasts, so I can tell you how I like it on camera, but so far everything in here I kind of love. So if you happen to like any of the products right in here, leave me a comment and let me know which one it is. And also there's a 20% off Sephora Rouge sale going on right now while this video is coming up. So I actually purchased a lot of like, I guess, high-end products for the next video. So next video gonna be more like really high-end products that I purchased for Sephora Rouge sale. So hopefully it's gonna come in like the next 2-3 days soon. So yeah, so that's about it for this week video. Hopefully you like this natural, no, I wouldn't say no makeup, natural makeup with the wing liner this week. So yeah, so if you happen to like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel right down below. That would help me a lot. Ring the bell button for next week, not next week, next week. I try to post every week, I try. And also follow me on all my social media at bella.c.snow. I post a lot on my Instagram story, and I've been trying to do TikTok, but I kind of like, I still don't get TikTok yet, so I'm just need a little bit of time with the TikTok. So it's all bella.snow or bella.c.snow. So yes, follow me on all my social media, and I'll see you again on the next video. Okay, bye.